All right, guys. So obviously I've done some stuff since the last video. So I knew that I wanted a little duck character because I saw this one cake with a little duck and I thought that was adorable. So I tried to make a little duck character and I was putting him on the tiers and I'm realizing it just kind of looks like I'm building a cake with a little duck army. I think one duck is enough. But how I made it is exactly how we made the cake, or like it's the same process, I should say. For his little body, I used a ellipse tool, and then all I did is I used my white arrow to go in and to kind of like adjust the shape of it to make it kind of look a little more globby. Um, his hat was just something I had made with the pen tool. So the pen tool right here allows us to make manual shapes. And then all I did is I went and used the draw inside, and inside of it, I added the stripes, just like we did when we were drawing inside the cake tiers. Um, so for this part, you need something that's going to be on top of the cake decorating things. I would say experiment. Like, I'm not necessarily happy with this little duck. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have one little duck at the top that's like the king duck, who maybe what I'll do is give him little arms and he can be like holding the candle, maybe. I think that actually is cute. Hold on. Put him to the side, and then I am going to click my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to grab the yellow. And then I am going to use my pen tool, and I'm just going to click once to start my point, click and drag to give it a little bit of a round edge and handlebars so that I can adjust the curve. Click back, and I'm going to connect these. So there's his little arm, and I can use my white arrow to click on this, to click on the anchor point and move it, the handlebars. And remember, if you're at all struggling with using the pen tool, you can always practice with the Bezier game. It's an online game that lets us practice kind of the functions of the pen tool. So there's his cute little wing. And I think to give us a sense of like depth or like kind of dimension, I'm going to click on the wing. I'm going to go to my yellow color and I'm going to make it a wee bit darker. Click OK. And then I'm going to click on it and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go arrange send to back. And I think this just like maybe I make it a little bit lighter, but then it kind of makes it look like this is separate from his body, that it is kind of like, okay, that's like a wing or that's some kind of separate thing. But in doing that, I feel like I got to add the other side now. So I'm going to make him like have his other little wing kind of right here. Do, do, do. That's good. There we go. So there's like my little king duck, and then these are his little sentries down here. And down here, I did just click and kind of change them slightly. So I clicked and I kind of moved their hats a little bit so that it doesn't all look the exact same. Because ideally, this is frosting, this is a cake. So, this is like a concept of a cake. So everything shouldn't necessarily be exactly perfect if I want it to look like a real cake. So that's why you can see there's little adjustments in where their hats are placed and their eyes are placed in these ones in the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna call that good for my little decorators. Now I'm gonna make a candle. So you need at least one candle. You can do multiple candles if you'd like, but you gotta do at least one. So what I'm gonna do is pretty simple. I'm gonna use a rectangle tool and I'm just gonna click and drag to make something that is like candle shaped. And then what I'm gonna do is candles are never or like hardly ever super sharp. So I'm going to, with my black arrow, click on this, and then I'm going to click on my white arrow. And in doing so, all of my anchor points are still selected. And I'm going to click on the little meatball inside the angles and drag to round it just a bit. Then I am going to zoom in, take a darker color, and make a little rectangle that's going to be my little wick. And I might use my white arrow to click and kind of like angle it a little bit. So then it kind of looks like it's sitting in the wax, maybe. Yeah. And if I want to get fancy, I can click on my candle. And candles, are melting or they're not perfect, they're wax. So maybe I use my white arrow and grab these two anchors points here and move them down a little bit. Ooh, that kind of makes it look even more like it's like a kind of melted candle. And then if I want to be fancy, I can of course double click on the candle and I can click the draw inside feature to go inside of it and maybe add some kind of stripes or, polka dots. I kind of didn't do the polka dot on the cake, so maybe I add a few polka dots in here, just in the candle to be cutesy. And I'm making my cake very cute. You do not have to. You can make your cake spooky cake. You can do whatever you want. There you go. I'm going to click the draw normal button. And then I'm going to grab my candle and I want to move it so that it looks like my cute little duck is like holding it like it's the South Pole or something. I don't know. Cute. Kind of bothering me that it's not centered. So I'm going to grab the duck and the candle and scooch it to the side. So if I grab multiple shapes and if I hold down Shift and click and move them, why aren't you moving for me? He's being difficult. I'm going to grab both of them. I'm going to right click group because sometimes grouping things works better. There you go. And then I'm going to hold down Shift and I can move them to the side. There you go. That's better. Yes, that's symmetrical. Makes me happy. Okay. So this is those kind of decor. All right. So the candle, add the candle, make something. You can do strawberries, you can do whatever, flowers, but you need something that goes on top of the cake that's some kind of little extra detail. You could also kind of take the idea we did with these little like frosting, kind of like what do you call these little frosting, whatever, the loop-de-loops. Maybe you put those on top. So maybe you kind of try to make something more like this, like those top frosting things. Either way, whatever. Um, Next video, I'm going to quickly show you how to make a flame and how to kind of put it on a card background.